Hey y'all, and welcome to part 5 of my tutorial series. This is the final video, and we are almost there. We are almost to having our own voxel engine. So in the last video, we were able to render multiple chunks on the screen, and so now we're going to actually create a chunk manager that does all that for us. It, uh, puts the chunks on the screen, and yeah, without further ado, we'll just get into it, and yeah. All right. So let me shoot. Camera keeps shutting off, which is kind of annoying, but that's all right. All right. So just thinking about it, we need to find a way to check in order to make 1,000 blocks on 1,000 chunks on the screen. We have to delete the faces that are not being seen, in between the chunks. Those faces are being rendered, and we actually need to not render those. And in order to do that, we have to check the blocks that are outside the chunk. So we're gonna actually need a chunk manager for that, so we can actually check all of the blocks and all of the chunks, and we can see if there is a if it's a if it's an air block or if it's not an air block. So let's start with that. So let's go into our chunk.h, and we are going to let's see, what are we going to do? We'll add a forward declaration. So class world, and we don't have a world class yet, but we're just doing a forward declaration for it. We're going to remove the private key because we're going to or the private thing. That way we can use these functions, and then we'll need to add a function called bool needs mesh update. And this is kind of like the flag that tells us that we need to update our block data or our mesh, whatever it is. And we'll set it to true. All right. And then in this void rebuild mesh, we're actually going to pass a pointer to the world. All right, so that's all we do with the chunk header. So hopefully we can race through this. Now we're going to go into chunk TPP, and we're going to include world.h. And eventually we will get to making world.h, but we're just going to include it for now. So you go into this, and we can actually delete this. We don't need this anymore, or I'll just comment it out. In this rebuild mesh, if we go down here, we are going to pass world pointer world. All right, so we're passing that into rebuild mesh, and then we're going to yeah, we need to delete it in here. I just commented it out, but that's all right. We just need to go back into where is it? Rebuild mesh. We're gonna make some changes. We have to find the global position if we're gonna check neighbors. Instead of just checking inside the chunk, we have to check other people's other chunks too. So let's do that. Right in here, we'll do int gx equals world x times 16 plus x. And we'll do that for the same. For int gy, it just equals y because we're just doing xz. We're not doing if we wanted to do 3D coordinates, we could do we could have something for gy, but we're not going to do that for this tutorial. All right, and then instead of if solid, we're going to do if let's see, if world is solid f. And we haven't done any world class or anything, so it doesn't really know this. But we're we're just gonna go with it, and we're going to so that, and then we're gonna add G, GX, GY, GZ. Yeah. So right, left. Just add the G's in. Oh, we need to, let's just update everything. All right, GX. Do GY. This is the same as Y. And GZ. All right, that looks good. Let's file save. So we have our rebuild mesh updated. So then we need to go into model. Right here, this thing right here, the model. We need to multiply that by 16 because we're now dealing with world coordinates. So cool. Translating. Okay, cool. So that's everything we need for this. Let's check the errors. Yeah, the world is not, doesn't really know what that is. So let's build a world header file. Header file. We'll call it world.h. So we're adding a world. And we're going to do the if and def. World h. And define it. And if. Okay, so in our world h, we're going to include some stuff. Include GLM. And we're going to add this hash, and it takes GTX, so it's a little confusing. We need unordered map, and this is for the world, how we're going to store the world. We're going to do it in a map, which is a C++ thing. Alrighty, so we do class chunk. So this is just our forward declaration, so that we can use chunk. And then we'll also do the world. See what we got. So first we'll do the world constructor and destructor. We'll have the unordered map. All right, and then we'll do oops, 2 colons. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have the GLM ivec2, comma, and chunk. Call it chunks. So we have the IVEC2, which is the coordinates, the XZ coordinates, and then the chunk, which is the specific chunk being pointed to. Of int render distance. So this is how many chunks in front of us we want to render. So we'll have 6 in front, 6 in back, 6 on the sides. Cool. Void update, which is a GLM player position. So I guess we're just updating the player position. We have a render function for cool. So we're going to use that is solid at function now. Cool. And then we'll have private load chunk. And then we'll have this unload var chunks, which we're not going to be using for this tutorial, but we'll just hold on to it because it might be useful if you're going to be developing a game or something. So yeah. All right, so that is the world header, and we just need the world.cpp, then we need to clean up main, and then we'll be all done with this tutorial. So let's do that. All right, we're going to include the world.h. We're going to include chunk. Chunk.h. And we'll include IOStream. All right, so just constructor and destructor. In the destructor, we'll do so this is just kind of like a fancy destructor function, and the pairs are what's stored in the map. So each one is it's a you know, XY. Everything in the unordered map is an XY. So we're going through this chunk pair, and we're going to delete pair.second. And this is the so we had the first is the 2 coordinates, and then the second is the chunk pointer, and we're going to delete that chunk pointer so we can save data. All right, cool. Bool world is solid at. All right, let's check it. Take some parameters. Return false. Int cx equals std floor. Okay. Do the same for CY. Or CZ. We're going to be doing Z. Sorry. So it's XZ. GLM. I pick 2. Chunk position. Take CX and CZ. Cool. So just general constructor stuff. Return false. Int X. And this is kind of hard to explain, but this is just kind of turning this is turning all the coordinates into local coordinates. So it takes a global coordinate and it either, subtracts by 16 or adds by 16. And x plus equals 16. So that way we can use the isSolid function for any block. That's what we're doing here. Do the same with Z. Hopefully my camera didn't crash. It's been doing that. Yeah, still going. Cool. And then return chunks. Chunk position. isSolid. So we'll do that isSolid function. LX, Y, LZ. Looks good to me. All right. And then we'll do an update function for the world. Update. We got PX, CX, LX. It can be kind of confusing, but just bear with me. X divided by 16.05. Do the same for PZ. Okay. And we'll do the for loop. This is going to be X. Minus render distance. So this is just a for loop, and we're going to build the render distance of the chunks. So this controls how far they go. And then we'll do and also for Z, it's Z, PZ, easy peasy. Just keep going with it. All right, so if there we go, fix that. Okay, so in this for, we'll have an if. 2. Load chunk XZ. All right, cool. Got that all figured out. Now we got to figure out what load chunk does. Load chunk X and Z. Chunks. All right, and sorry if this part is kind of boring, but we are almost there. Just keep filling out these functions so we can use them in the main, or wherever we need to use them. Yeah, we're almost done. So we have the load chunk, and let me go back to the main. Is it? Or sorry, world.h load chunk. Yeah, just making sure it wasn't load chunks. So then last one we need to do is render. So and make sure you have that world render signed int shader program. All right, for post chunk. And I got a weird colon, chunks. Chunk render shader program. All right. Whew. So we have completed our world.c++ file. So now we just need to clean up main. So let's do that. Let's go into main. See if we need to clean anything up. Yeah, let's delete this chunk thing. So before main, so yeah, so let's add the world. So world, my world, and you wouldn't believe it, but we forgot the world include. We need to do that. .h. Okay, that's in there. So now we can do world, my world, and let's go into the while loop. And instead of this chunk render thing, we can clear that. Let's do my world dot update camera dot position. Okay. And we'll add this for loop in the pointer chunk pair dot second. All right. And we also need the mesh update. So this is the flag that I was talking about. So for whatever reason, when they have to reload the chunk, this does it. And this auto thing, and make sure it only does it once. So you'll see. Give me 1 second. Let me type this in. It's the arrow. So it's going to check if it needs a mesh update, and if it does, it'll rebuild the mesh. So that's what we're going to do right here. Rebuild mesh. And we'll pass in a reference to my world. Oops, not that. Do that. And then right here, this needs mesh update equals false. So we're going to set that flag to false once we do this. Once it needs the mesh update, we'll update it, and then we'll set it to false. And then if we need to update the mesh again for any reason, we just get that mesh update to equal true. That's all we do. So that's what this whole thing was all about. Let's go into, let's see. After this, we'll do my world.render shader program.id. All right, so let's see if this works. All right, so what do we got here? Yeah, it looks like it works. So if you press space and you go up, you can see all these blocks. Wow, would you look at that? Isn't that beautiful? So we have this huge world. It's a world of voxels. It goes on infinitely. And it's a great template for if you're going to try to build a game. You can go into the floor and kind of see what's going on over there. See, it's only one layer. It's only one layer of it's only XZ. So this is our voxel engine. It looks beautiful. Congratulations on reaching the end of the tutorial. Now you went from, starting from scratch to a completely working voxel engine. So, and here's the data in the command log, command thing. So, all right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial series. Here, I'll zoom this in. Yeah, my camera broke again, so this is not going to work. We'll put this back. But thank you for sticking with me. And I hope you learned a lot because this was quite a bit for me. So, yeah, I'm happy to share this with you. And my goals now are to continue programming and maybe build a game with all these tools that I've kind of discovered. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.